This is Max Masterson, and this is my final major project supporting document and video essay. Note: for correct 3D spatialization, please wear headphones for this video essay and presentation of work. Introduction, project discussion and aims. In this project, both the current state and potential commercial future of binaural audio within the medium of video games will be discussed through both secondary research presented in this video essay, as well as majorly a working proof-of-concept interactive game using Epic Games' Unreal Engine 5 and Firelight Technologies' game audio middleware program, Fmod. However, unlike many VR-adapted games which offer binaural diegetic sound for increased immersion through realistic 3D placement, the specific focus in this project is on the use of binaural sound in interactive, non-diegetic musical purposes, whilst using normal 3D propagation for diegetic or in-world sounds. What are the commercial applications of binaural spatialized audio when applied to gameplay via a non-diegetic, semi-generative, 2D, listener-locked music system? As to be discussed in the coming sections, interactive games with binaural, non-diegetic music are few and far between. And this project pushes that, making a non-diegetic, self-generating music system where both the 3D placement and continuous 3D movement of sounds are also randomized. The aim being, at a postgraduate level, to push game audio forward and to see if there is commercial value and use to this technology. This brings me on to my personal aims and key questions. These are to build upon semi-generative skills learnt in previous modules and to apply them to a new program such as Unreal Engine 5. Utilize and take advantage of binaural audio within an advanced Fmod system, developing my skill set and portfolio. Create an Fmod music system that could be palatable and used by other composers with randomized binaural panning and movement as a proof of concept. This is where composers can drop in their own stems, that being more traditional orchestral sections, or drones and more acousmatic sounds, and be able to have an almost pre-made binaurally randomized version of their music immediately. And finally, to find out if there is a commercial use to this music system through research and analysis of the work itself. The modern context of binaural audio in interactive video games. Recently, as technology has progressed and games have begun to use virtual reality headsets for heightened visual realism, there has been a push for that realism to also include 3D and binaural audio, with the diegetic audio from gameplay being the most commonly transferred to this type of audio over non-diegetic audio and music. Although different in scope to my binaural game audio project, the idea of binaurality and the context of where the technology is being used today is important to discuss. The role and effect of binaural and spatialized audio in VR games for diegetic gameplay sound placement is written about in the academic journal Can I Trust My Ears in VR? Head-related transfer functions and valuation methods with descripted attributes in virtual reality, written by academics Claudia Jenny and Christoph Reuter, from the International Journal of Virtual Reality, published in 2021. In this article, it is said that to be fully immersed when in virtual reality, that auditory localization is crucial in creating new levels of realistic immersion and is described as having an essential role in creating lifelike situations. An example of this can be heard in Bethesda's 2016 re-release of Skyrim for the VR, which had been updated to include virtual reality capabilities as well as to have spatialized 3D sound capabilities with HRTF, with mods available to add this functionality to the base game. The changes from stereo gameplay and HRTF-enabled gameplay can be heard in this video excerpt, with changes in diegetic audio 3D placement.
Legends don't burn down villages. We need to move just now.
However, this showcase of 3D audio is done by applying HRTF and binaural processing to an already existing audio file, in a way faking the binaural placement. This being a cost-effective way to add binaural audio features into a game with pre-existing sound assets. True binaurality in gameplay, as recorded with a special binaural head-shaped microphone, like this Neumann KU100 stereo microphone, is hard to come by. A game that utilizes true binaurally recorded audio in this way is Ninja Theory's Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. When working on the audio award-winning Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, developers Ninja Theory recorded spoken thoughts and voices in this way, with a binaural head microphone for 3D, spatialized, moving whispers, shouts, and sounds of panic. This is to reflect that in-game, Senua, the character you play as, experiences psychosis, with David Garcia Diaz, the audio director at Ninja Theory, describing the gameplay mechanic as auditory hallucinations are one of the symptoms of Senua's psychosis. We felt the best way to represent them in our game is through headphones. Headphones sit over your ears, creating a private space, isolating you from the world a little, and then in tandem with binaural audio, they add the impression of a three-dimensional space around you.
You need to climb again. She will fall if she does. She will die if she doesn't. Climb, Senua. Climb. Climb. She's hurt. So tired. Come on. Climb. Come on. Don't listen to your body. Don't listen to the pain. Listen to your mind. Coward! Why have we come here? Stupid! Come on, climb! She's too exhausted.
As well as learning from and applying the pre-rendered vocal processing techniques used in Hellblade 2, hearing the successful effects of this inspired me to push my system further, adding live binaural randomization, something that Ninja Theory didn't experiment with. Although the surrounding voices were a standout feature of the audio, with the game being played through the point of view of Senua's mind, like an unreliable narrator, some processed Foley sounds and non-diegetic choral elements of the music were processed with Sennheiser's Dear VR. bearing similarity to binaural post-production techniques used in my project. Binaural audio and Dolby Atmos. The differences. Instead of usual left and right panning, binaural audio simulates how sound reaches our ears individually, either recording a realistically spatialized sound on source with a binaural microphone, like the voice recordings of Hellblade 2, or using binaural rendering and processing on normally recorded audio, like in Skyrim VR and in my game project, to achieve a similar effect. Binaural audio is from the point of view of the listener, with what is representative of real sound sources moving around the listener as such. As the recording itself takes into account the head shape, reflections of sound from the head, ear shape and ear perspectives. Whereas Dolby Atmos is included and is grouped in with stereo, 5.1 and 7.1 sound. These are sounds emitted from an emitter source, like a speaker system, with Dolby Atmos having a virtual emitter sources or speakers placed in a 3D space, with the sound being from the point of view of the emitter. So, not taking into account the 3D reflections that binaural does. Binaural audio is rendered in the exact way that the human ear would hear it, and Atmos isn't. Binaural audio and Dolby Atmos continued. Pros and cons. Dolby Atmos, which can achieve similar results, has been growing in popularity in recent years, especially over the likes of binaural audio. Although binaural audio can be used with pre-recorded audio sources, like Atmos, Atmos places them using 3D spaces, using a wide range of speaker setups. This is palatable to stereo headphones, surround sound, and speaker systems including 5.1 and 7.1. This range of compatible speaker formats is certainly a factor when it comes to its growing popularity and use in music, film, and interactive gameplay settings, as TV, soundbars, home speaker setups, and headphones can all be used with this method of 3D spatialization. That being said, when headphones are worn as specified and required, the sound propagation and placement are far more realistic than the Dolby Atmos takes on the idea. With binaural audio having great value and effect within the game audio sphere, as reflected by the awards won by Ninja Theory and Hellblade 2. The music of my project and the apprehension engine. In modern horror scoring, horror film soundtracks have slowly started to noticeably change from traditional melody-based scores to being more focused on sound design, having more unsettling and unknown sounds being utilised to cause reactions of discomfort. A direct product of this has been the creation of an instrument dubbed the apprehension engine. This handcrafted instrument was made for film composer Mark Corvin, composer of The Witch and The Lighthouse. A wooden box-like instrument with metallic springs, coils, metal rulers, magnetically controlled guitar necks, and metal wires was commissioned to be able to write and improvise droning, unsettling pieces with unexpected metallic hits, bows, and strange sounds, commonly fed into a looper to create uneasy and tense evolving atmospheres. The idea of a bed of unsettling metallic hits, knocks, and unknown creaks being improvised together and looped bears similarity to the system that I had made, having probability-based triggering on similar sounds and long-sustained distorted drone layers. In a way, with the system writing and improvising its own horror sound design influenced piece of music. So, This now brings me to the results section of this video essay. So as you can see, we are in this mansion area here, and you have some binaural randomized drones that are going on. Those guitar plugs just kind of moving around slightly. Now we've got this fire, which has regular 3D sound propagation, as well as this gramophone, which gives you a point to being here. So this is just here to give you some direction in gameplay, just so the music system makes sense. So we'll go past the clock and head down the stairs. So diegetic wise, again we have this regular 3D sound propagation, and I have some scatterers that are just here and here, which have lots of wooden creaks in. So at the moment, with this drone layer and with these low drones that are just kind of going in and out, this is intensity 0. Then we'll go through this door and the parameter will change to intensity 1. And at this point, you'll hear lots of violin notes that are randomly chosen. So this is where it starts to become more semi-generative almost, where melodies start writing themselves, and where you start to get more multi-instruments of metal hinges and bangs, like the apprehension engine. So here come the extra layers with horizontal resequencing, and as you can hear, with this night you have some diegetic sounds. So there's some breathing if you listen closely, and this metal rattling, which is a multi-instrument, almost as if there's someone stuck in there. The clock again here, and yes, there's this music system that starts writing itself. And as you can hear, as I move my head around, it stays with the camera. So even though these layers are binaural and I'm moving, they are moving with the player. Hear those knocks there. So now as I head under here and go the wrong way, you'll hear a filter come in. This filter is essentially saying you're going the wrong way, but in a more auditory way. And now when we come back, that parameter has gone back to 0 as such, and you now have all the frequencies again. So now we'll head up the stairs. So if we go this way, past the night and past that first doorway, we will once again be going the wrong way. And now we go here, and there's a huge EQ cut. This is to show you've gone the wrong way, and so the player can turn around. So we will now head back. And on our return, all the frequencies come back, and we are back to our normal intensity 1 as such. So at this point, even though it's ramped up a little bit, it's still quite calm. So when we go through this door, there'll be some screams and some voice sounds and voice recordings. Now these are panned binaurally before implementation, So this is faking what Ninja Theory did in Hellblade 2 in a way. So it'll come through and there'll be a stinger and you'll see him at the end of the corridor. So these screams are moving around you almost as if this is some eldritch god, this horror beyond man's comprehension, and all you hear is just screams around you and around you. So let's go. So there was that one shot to link us into the next intensity, and here we are. So this still has 3D propagation as usual, whilst everything else is moving around you.
Such a beautiful soul.
And here is this horrific creature. So this reading is a mixture of me doing some horrible breaths and also crushing fruit and peppers to get that really nasty, crunchy, squelchy sound. Conclusion. As a project, this game audio system presented has been successful in keeping with my key aims. To build upon semi-generative skills learnt in previous modules and apply them to a new program, such as Unreal Engine 5. Utilise and take advantage of binaural audio with an advanced FMOD system, developing my skill set and portfolio. Create an FMOD music system that could be palatable and used by other composers with randomised binaural panning and movement as a proof of concept. My fourth point was to evaluate the commercial use of binaural audio and this generative system that I had made for an interactive gameplay basis. How viable is it? Are there changes I would make to improve its usability? Yes. A main point of improvement to work on is that when packaged, the Unreal Engine build was unstable. Getting a working build out is high up on my priorities list for my portfolio. However, this system does work within FMOD and during gameplay in Unreal Engine within the editor. And so keeping it a strictly prototype system for now, but still a successful prototype nonetheless. Although my system used randomness for its use of panning and placements of stems, and this was an element of the project I wanted to incorporate from a technical standpoint, it did have some inherent flaws from a more commercial standpoint. By its very nature, the composer would have to, in a way, give up control of the 3D position, movement and panning of their stems. As well as the loss of control with a complete randomization, having multiples upon multiples of stems all being randomly placed around the listener with different movement paths, and live binaural processing applied to them was computationally quite resource heavy. There is a way that this system could be improved to move it from a prototyping project to more commercial. This being, if you make the surround sound positioning and movement modulator tied to a new parameter, for example health, the composer using the system could have more control of the placement, having no depth or speed on the LFOs, and then as the player's health goes up and down throughout gameplay, slowly have the modulators change with it. This could improve initial control that a composer may not want to give up, as well as save resources and keep the system more optimized whilst keeping the binaural randomness incorporated into the system. Whilst there's always improvements that could be made on a project, all in all, I believe this project to have been successful. Having met all of the aims set out in the introduction, and having created a working, gameplay and parameter-controlled binaural music system that I believe as a postgraduate student has explored something new and exciting in the game audio sphere. Thank you for watching my project.